Kia ora, no mai haere mai. Hello and welcome. This is Deborah McMahon talking astrology with you. And today we're talking about the astrological forecast for the week starting on 25 July 2022. This week, the sun will transit between 1 and 8 degrees of Leo. So many of the Leos in our lives will be in the center of attention because it's their birthday week. Leo, your sign ruler, is returning to the place in the zodiac it was when you were born to shine its light on you. Each week, the moon moves through about a quarter of the zodiac. This week, she transits through parts of Gemini, all of Cancer and Virgo, and parts of Leo. And the new moon occurs on Wednesday at 5 degrees and 38 arc minutes of Leo. We will talk more of the new moon very soon. These are the key aspects that piqued my interest this week. We start the week with two planets in dignity, and that's the Sun in Leo and Saturn retrograding in Aquarius. On Monday, Venus perfects its square with Jupiter at 8 degrees of Cancer and Aries. On Wednesday, we see Mercury form a square with Mars from Leo to Taurus. On Friday, we experience the Leo new moon when the Sun and Moon conjoin at 5 degrees and 38 arc minutes. And Friday also brings the station of Jupiter at 8 degrees and 43 arc minutes of Aries. From our perspective on Earth, it appears as though Jupiter is not moving at all in our skies. On Sunday, we have Mercury opposing Saturn from Leo to Aquarius. And we finish the week with Uranus at 18 degrees and 40 arc minutes of Taurus. It's starting to slow now, readying for its retrograde station towards the end of August. So here are the charts. As usual, these are set in New Zealand time. So if you live outside of New Zealand, you might find that these transits perfect a few hours differently according to your time zone. But you can convert these for your part of the world if you like, but they will be approximately right. The ascendant, midheaven, and house placements won't be relevant to you unless you live in the same part of the world as me. But wherever you are in the world, the planets will still be in these signs and degrees and in the same relationship with each other. When we have planets in dignity, this means they are able to express their essential natures more easily. They are more able to be themselves. Saturn is more Saturnian when in Aquarius, for example. Remember in astrology that I practice from the Greco-Roman era, Saturn is equally at home in Capricorn and Aquarius. In the absence of other influences, there is a greater chance of a constructive expression of a planet when it's in its own sign. So the sun gives us our sense of self and is the source of our vitality and creativity. And when the sun is in Leo, we shine brightly. It's easier to be ourselves, to operate from a sense of warmth, and friendships may feature more prominently. Saturn asks for maturity and discipline from us, and it values that which has been tested by time or achieved through hard work and effort. It can signify the aged and authority. It introduces structures and limits, and when in its home sign of Aquarius, this can express through our ideas about social groups and order. Venus square Jupiter on Monday. Well, the greater and lesser benefits and aspect with each other is suggestive of good things, but not without some tension to work out first. Venus in Cancer is about nurturing family or intimate connections and is quite sweet, sitting in cross purposes with an empowered Jupiter. There may be a big picture that has us justifying bold, brash, individual action, even if it bruises the feelings of others. Action is more likely than not, since the significations of Jupiter sitting in Aries are intensified because of the planet's station in a couple of days' time, and because of it being in the overcoming position relative to Venus. There could be someone in your corner at home supporting any bold moves you might make, particularly if it benefits the family in the long run. Mercury square Mars on Wednesday. This is a quick-moving transit as the fleet-footed Mercury moves into square with Mars. Our want for self-expression may misalign with our physical energy and how we are asserting ourselves currently. Mars in Taurus is quite constrained. At its best, it's about sustained effort, but it often feels a little plodding. This year's Leo new moon occurs on Friday. The moon signifies our nurturing function, home, family, and our habitual emotional response and comfort zone. When the moon is in Leo, our inner child is a little closer to the surface. We take comfort in our creativity and self-expression, and we can be quite playful. And when in her dark moon phase, in conjunction with the sun, the moon promises a beginning or a seeding moment. This new moon occurs at 5 degrees and 38 arc minutes of Leo, and by orb, it is in a helpful trine with helpful Jupiter, which itself is empowered by being in its station point. This suggests good beginnings. And the big news on Friday, the Jupiter station. We've been talking about this over the last several weeks. As a planet approaches the place in the zodiac where it will seem to stop before turning retrograde, it will appear to move slower and slower. And as a planet slows, its significations intensify. Remember that Jupiter is the greater benefit, and so it brings optimism and often a helping hand. It offers us a sense of cohesiveness and comprehensiveness, and through it we believe we have grasped the bigger picture. And when in Aries, Jupiter gives us the faith to be bold, to be in the moment, and take pioneering action. Now, if you have anything in your personal astrology at the same degrees of Aries, or interacting with it by aspect, this could be a very significant time for you. You have an added influence at play. The parts of your chart to look at are the opposing point at 8 degrees of Libra, or the squaring points in Cancer and Capricorn, or the trining points in Leo and Sagittarius. Once Jupiter returns to motion, it will move backwards through the early degrees of Aries, but it will move very, very slowly to start with. And so it will remain in the 8th degree of Aries for several more weeks to come. For us all, this is the start of a much longer story. Whichever way Jupiter showed itself in our lives over the last few weeks and over the next few to come, we may be revisiting those themes again in February of next year when the lucky planet returns to the same part of the zodiac after completing its backwards trek. Mercury opposite Saturn on Sunday. Well, this is another fleeting transit. Mercury in Leo is about expressing ourselves, our creativity, and focusing on our entertainment. Our inner child could be showing, but it's in conflict with the sobering presence of Saturn in Aquarius. This is a day when we might want to put aside our responsibilities, and it's only for a day. We finished the week with Uranus at 18 degrees and 40 arc minutes of Taurus. Our planet of rebellion and breakthrough is slowing, readying for its retrograde near the end of August. And of course, we know that as a planet slows, its significations intensify. The unexpected is what to expect with an empowered Uranus. It signifies technology and revolution. It is about breaking old structures and a push for freedom. And when in Taurus, we may find a desire to break free from or restructure that in our lives that we have counted on or even became complacent about. Maybe we're rethinking our reliance on supermarkets and considering our alternatives. Or perhaps it's time to change our internet provider or change our long-term financial strategy. Is there anything such as the proverbial safest houses anymore? It's possible that this may play out more in the world stage than in our own lives, but then again, we could start thinking along lines we've never thought to think before. You'll see that the little circle I've used to highlight the position of Uranus also encompasses Mars and the moon's north node. And that's because there's something happening early next week that I want to forewarn you about. The moon's north node moves backwards through the zodiac and Mars usually moves forwards. And so these two together are closing in on Uranus from both sides, forming a triple conjunction over Monday and Tuesday of next week. Now, this is quite a hotbed combination, so tune in next week for more on this. Well, I hope you enjoyed this and thank you for your time. As always, I encourage you to encourage me with a like, comment, share, or subscribe. And don't forget to click that notification bell. Noho oro mai. Stay well. Goodbye until next week.